Hi, I'm Shauna Farbach, and I'm a certified tension and trauma releasing exercises provider based in San Francisco. We also refer to tension and trauma releasing exercises as TRE, which is much easier to say. And what I wanted to share today is the ways that I've experienced the benefits of TRE for myself. People often ask, what are the benefits of TRE? And you can do the research and read on the website. Many people experience reduced anxiety, less stress. A lot of people notice less pain in those tense places in our body. Some of my clients have reported sleeping better. So, all those things happen. But I don't know, it's not that personal. And so I just thought I would tell you what I've experienced from TRE. So something that I noticed fairly quickly in my body as a benefit of my TRE practice was its impact on some of my chronically tight places in my body. So before I even learned TRE, I had already started a practice of trying to bring awareness to the fact that my shoulders were always up by my ears. And so I regularly would just check in with myself, and if my shoulders were up by my ears, I would bring them down. And the first thing that I noticed is shortly after I had begun my TRE practice, more often when I would check in with my shoulders, they weren't up by my ears, right? And the way that experience translated in my body is that I felt that it was the TRE that also addressing the tension in my body from that modality, as well as my conscious choice to relax my shoulders, that those two practices were intersecting in a way that was really benefiting me and really accelerating my ability to kind of break that habit. So that was delightful. The other thing that I noticed was I literally got more space to breathe. When I would take a deep breath, I could actually feel, it felt like my chest was stretching because new tissue had opened to allow my lungs to expand. So, if you're stretching muscles, kind of that stretchy sensation, not pain, but it feels like a stretch. I had that sensation in my chest because the muscles for the first time could actually stretch that far to let me take in that breath. That was weird. I didn't expect that. And I didn't feel like I was having a hard time breathing. But one thing that really struck me as I felt that in my own body is how so often when folks are dealing with stress or anxiety, we encourage them take a deep breath. And that's brilliant and beneficial no matter what. But to really notice in my body that for many of us, that deep breath is limited by the capacity of our tissues. And so to know that TRE could actually enable me to take a deeper breath was pretty exciting. The third benefit that I want to share, I feel a little nervous to share because it was something that I noticed immediately after my first TRE training. And it was one of those holy shit, this feels like a miracle things. I'm pretty resistant to those stories because, they pop up with modalities. It doesn't matter what the modality is, but someone somewhere in the world had one treatment and their life changed. And I don't like those stories because that doesn't always happen. It's not the norm, right? And for most somatic practices or body work or exercise, it's slow change over time. And that's the norm, and that's something to be celebrated. But the truth is, this is what happened. My first TRE, the first part of my TRE training was a 3-day intensive. And in those 3 days, we all shook 5 times. And those of you that have studied TRE with me know that when you're first learning TRE, we recommend that you only shake 3 times a week. So this was very different, right? And it's done that way because we're in a very specific container with a very well-trained facilitator. So in 3 days, we shook 5 times, which is a lot. And on the way home, crossing the Bay Bridge, on my way home from the training that last night, I said to the friend and colleague who was in the car with me that I was happy. I feel so silly. I just felt happy. And it was sensation that I hadn't felt before, which is not to say I've never been happy. But what I realized in having that particular embodied experience is that I recognize that a lot of times when I feel really good, it actually has a little bit of a buzzy quality to it. And this was, it didn't have any of that. I was just happy. So now, of course, life is life, and a couple days later, something happened, and that feeling went away. And it's not a state that I've been in since then. Which also brings up the question about, well, why don't you just shake 5 times in 3 days and see if it comes back? And that's a juicy inquiry around the ways that we keep ourselves from pleasure and joy. But that's a little too philosophical for today, so maybe that's a different video. But even having only been in that state for, 24 to 48 hours, to experience that my body has that capacity, and to know that TRE, that using TRE to balance my nervous system was a way that I got there, it was a pretty profound experience for me. And coming back to my bias, that I really believe that change most often happens slowly over time with consistent practice. I hold the aspiration that that is the place I'm getting to with my regular practice. So those are some of the ways that I've experienced changes in my body from TRE, the benefits I've experienced. If and when you're ready to find out what TRE might offer for your body, I am delighted to support you. So don't hesitate to reach out.